Now it is just under 2 hours before polls close in the critical Eden-Monaro by-election in New South Wales. All eyes will be on the result, with polls suggesting it's too close to call between former Bega Mayor Kristy McBain, who's representing Labor, and Liberal candidate Fiona Cotvoys. Reporter Dan Bourchier is on the trail and he joins us now from Queanbeyan. So Dan, just tell us what the mood's been like there among voters as we get close to polls closing.
Yeah, Miriam, good afternoon. You get a sense that people who are coming out are doing it quite begrudgingly. They're making sure to ensure physical distance, at least 1.5 metres away from anyone else. And that's as a result, of course, of COVID-19. And that has been very much at the forefront of the minds of many of the people I've been speaking with today. But so have the bushfires and the drought that was extended by some time that we've seen over the last little over 6 months. In addition to that, of course, jobs has been a focus here. People are wondering about what's going to happen post-job seeker and job keeper. Of course, the details of that the government soon to release, we understand. And in amongst all of this, Miriam, we have the Deputy Prime Minister, Michael McCormack, saying in the last little while that he says it's going to be a close call, and in fact he's saying that we might not know an outcome tonight. For Labor's part, well, Anthony Albanese, the opposition leader, is saying that this is going to be an election where they're right up against it, because of course this seat has held that bellwether status up until the last election. And we know that there hasn't been a by-election won by a government for more than 100 years. In fact, 100 years exactly, one since Federation in 1901. As for today, more than half of the 114,000 residents of Eden-Monaro, which wraps around the ACT, well, they've already voted.
Well, there is a lot thrown into consideration there, but no less so than, of course, the candidates themselves. So just tell us a little bit about those main candidates for the by-election.
Yeah, well, Miriam, there's a whopping 14 on the list, and that includes people from the Hemp Party, the Science Party, also a real bevy of independents and, of course, the major parties. This is really a three-cornered race, which we don't get to see in seats like this all that often. One of those who's been at the forefront, of course, has been Trevor Hicks from the Nationals. Here's a little of what he had to say a little earlier.
We're up against some pretty slick campaign machines, and I'm a realist, I understand that, but hopefully the voters of Eden-Monaro will realise that they'll look past the big sales pitch that they're currently getting from some well-financed campaigners and look at someone real, someone that wants to work for Eden-Monaro, roll their sleeves up, get the job done in these difficult times. They need somebody strong and competent, and I'm certainly looking forward to the challenge if elected by the people.
Miriam, given that this is a three-cornered race, preferences are going to be crucial, and there has been some argy-bargy about whether or not. There's been some from the Nationals that have been saying put Labor second. In fact, I was just handed a little while ago a how-to-vote card that said if you're voting for the Nationals, vote second for the Labor, endorsed by Labor. So we'll hear from them in a moment, but here's Fiona Cotvoys from the Liberals.
The most important issues are rebuilding after everything we've gone through, particularly after the fires and after COVID and the ongoing drought. That's really the key thing, rebuilding. And then also jobs across the whole electorate. And so that's why I'm really pleased with the announcements in terms of the support for the forestry, support for the orchardists, for the viticulturalists, the defence industry's jobs, and particularly Snowy Point 2.0, which is going to just create 4,000 jobs across the Monaro in particular.
And we know that the former Eden Mayor Kristy McBain has been the subject of a smear campaign, that there have been arrests in the last couple of days, and of course more discussion about that and the impacts on campaigning during times like this. Kristy McBain says that she's up against it and has also kind of touched on some of those other issues as well. Here she is.
We have been hit by the triple whammy of drought, bushfires, and then the economic impacts of COVID-19. We've got people and businesses and industries that are doing it really tough right across this electorate. Yesterday I was at Wandella, which is west of Cobargo, with Graham and Robin. They lost their home in the bushfires. 6 months on, they are living in a caravan on their property and are going through the process of recovery and rebuild. Today is a chance to send the government a message that 6 months on from bushfire, we shouldn't still be waiting for assistance.
And of course, Miriam, as this is the first by-election, the first test of the Prime Minister and the opposition leader under these unusual pandemic circumstances, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight and whether there are any reverberations or incriminations in the days ahead. Miriam?
Indeed, there will be, and the countdown is literally on now until those ballots are counted. Of course,